Right guys and girls, Mark Crossfield here. Today we're talking about the easiest way to improve any golf swing, and I mean any golf swing. Get a handle on these 3 points that we're going to deal with today. You can keep all your funny little weird twists and turns and movements within reason, and you're going to be a better player. Let's show you what I mean. So that first swing there looked relatively, as people would say, as textbook. I'm going to hit a shot now where I try and hit the same line. So we're going to take it for this video that we're all trying to hit target. You know, we're trying to get the ball from A to a target, which is B. But the second time I'm going to do it with very different face control. I'm going to add loft, feel like the face is turned off to the right. And now you're going to see some quite different movements and shapes in my body for me to try and hit target. I'm going to hit one more. I'm going to take all the loft off. I'm going to get the face pointing left of the path, so in effect it's going to feel like it's closed. Obviously I'm making these quite extreme just to illustrate the point, but we're seeing different setups. And you're going to see very different actions. For me, not a great shot, but it's hitting target. It's like as straight as the others. The last shot, the face was 12 degrees closed to a path. The high, slicey one, the face was 8 open to the path. And the first shot, it was 0.5 face open, so it was 0 to the path. So your ability to control the club face as it swings around your body shapes everything that you see in the videos when you take videos of your swing, when people say, oh, you're aiming over there or you stand over here. It just shapes everything. And the main question I ask you is, do you have any control of your club face? If you don't, here are 3 great ways to start developing control of your club face, which will allow you to try and neutralize some of your techniques and hit that target a little bit more often, and then also maybe not have to stand in such crazy ways to do it. So number 1, let's think about rotation. So if I just stick this club into my tummy here and I start rotating with my body and my hips, you can see the face starts pointing more over to the wall here. As I come through, it will start pointing now back towards the screen here. It's rotating in relationship to me and in relationship obviously to this end as well. It's turning around and about the shaft. And we're going to come to this turn, don't worry. We're talking about handle forwards, handle back to kick us off. So the amounts of rotation I put in can influence shapes of shots and club face control. So if I wanted to hit a big fade shot, what I'm going to do is have massive opening on the way through. Really try and open my body up to try and drag that club and leave the face behind. Almost drag this end ahead of this end to leave the face open to a path to get that little cut. People who fat the ball, maybe overturn it, we tend to see maybe lack of rotation, more sliding on the way through. And then they start flipping the club over and we get the ball going left, those kind of ideas, as well as many others in between. But what I want you to do is practice a few shots with all 3 variations, and then hopefully we can find you this middle ground. So first one, just hold on to the club with your trail hand, for me my right hand, and I want you just to make a few half swings, but then really feel like you lead with your body and get it way open as you come down into an imaginary impact. Feel how much you're turning with your body, feel how much extra rotation you're putting in to make that work, and then try and hit a few shots with that idea and see what happens to your face control. Does it change the shape of shot? Does it move it in a different way? Does it start it in a different place? If it does, we've got something. Then the opposite, I want you to hit a few shots where you simply just really feel like you slide across. So same setup that I would normally have, but I'm going to hit the ball and I'm going to feel like I slide right across, stay square onto it, and I can see that ball starts more out to the right with a temptation to try and draw. So by rotating differently, I've now shaped the ball in different directions, which in turn has made me control the face in a very different way. Now, if you're the person watching this video and you're the one who's overturning loads of irons, too much curvature in the air, you want to try and practice the rotation more. If you're the opposite, someone who's slicing everything, you might feel like you want to just try and get a little bit more lateral shift in there and see what that does to your shape. This idea of controlling face through rotation is a weapon, a skill you need to have to get out there and play some better golf and actually start controlling the club face. To find some medium between lots of rotation to none, to see which one gives you that better level of club face control. Idea number 2 is intent. So lots of golfers fall into the pattern of not putting up a fight. They just start really playing the shape shots that comes out. And where there's benefits to doing that, there's also, if you want to sometimes progress, if you feel that you're leveling out doing that, you only get into a certain standard, so you get on some holes that demands another shot and you haven't got it, let's practice with some intention changes. Still bearing in mind you can use the rotation for this. So I've got 130 yards to go here, and I've got a tree in the way. So what I'm going to do is start pointing the face right, get my handle forward, get my feet pointing out to the right, and I'm going to see if I can get feelings of letting this face overtake at the bottom. Can I turn it around this tree? So you can see my intention there was to start it right, but I didn't exaggerate it enough. I'll find patterns if I change my intention. Meaning you're going to find it easier when you've got to slice it rather than draw it, and you've got to then try and find a way and get out there, practice a little bit more, and you can do this by putting things in front of you at the range. So if you haven't got the simulator here, I can just put a tee out in front of me here and think, right, I want everything starting right at that. You could put your bucket of balls in front of you, you can be on the practice ground, you can put your golf bag in front of you. Do whatever you need to do to start that ball out to the right, there we go, to see if you can get it trying to turn back. And when you do these ideas, feel the contradictions in setup. Am I pushing the ball further back? Do I push the hands further forward? Do I feel like I rotate my hands through the ball? Do I feel like I turn more on the way back? There'll be triggers for you that allow these shapes to come out. So a great example here, I'm 213 yards out. This is now where I'm going to use the rotation from the first ideas. I'm really going to feel like I'm turning. But I'm also going to note how far left I need to aim to actually get this ball starting left to move it. What I can then do is use these skills, these ideas, again to home them in. Do less further left, do less feeling of turn, to see if I can put a little bit of turn on it rather than the bigger amount. Intent is such an important part of the learning curve for amateurs who often get stuck in the ideas of just doing it correct. They just want to do it right. I'm actually a big fan and believer of getting people to do it very wrong both sides, and then they can self-discover where this mythical right is, which often a better term for that, you know, what's right, is actually functional. Because when you get on the course, you're going to find you're going to need club face control, because you're going to be faced with lots of many different shots. Now the last one, and maybe the most important one, is wrist angles. So how you can control the face directly through your lead wrist relationship with your lead arm, and how that turns that club quite aggressively around the angle of the shaft. So a little game for you to see if you have face control. You can play this game, and if you're not good at this game, you need to get better, because the golfers who are out there who are shooting lower scores than you, there's a very good chance they're better at you than this game than you are. So I'm going to aim straight like I'm going to hit a normal shot. On this swing, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to start the ball to the right and try and draw it back. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to shift path, not through setup. So I'm literally just going to pull it behind me and try and push out. While at the same time, I'm going to be turning my lead wrist down to the ground, turning that face down to the ground, trying to get that face to close down to my path to see if I can draw the ball from a neutral setup. Oh, not right enough, but there's the shape. So I can do it, I just need to find those angles. Same thing again, neutral setup, so I'm not aiding it with setup. It's all coming from me just literally trying to feel the face and the path marry up. That's a better one. There you go, 2 goes. Bit disappointed with the first one, but happy I turned it. So I got my shape from neutral setup, and what I did is I changed my path, pulled it back behind me and pushed it out, while at the same time folding that wrist down to the ground. And I very much reacted to the first one. The first one I overdid it just to make sure I did it on camera, if you like, and it was like, oh, I can do this quite easily. I've overdone it, so the next one I just brought it back. And that's the skill that we need you having, and if you haven't got it, which I understand, are you even practicing it? I know the answer for most of you is no, and that is the problem. So reverse idea now, but the same. So aiming straight now, I'm going to try and swing across the line on my feet, but I'm going to add a little bit of extension to my lead wrist. So with the draw, I feel like I'm here. With the fade now, I'm going to feel like I'm adding this extension in lead wrist, because that's going to get that face just opening to the path that I know I'm going to try and make that path go left. Again, not aiding it with setup, trying to set up neutral. I'm trying to play a club face control game, not changing grip. There you go, up the left and cutting back. Like, that's the one for me, that's the easiest one for me. So I would practice that one less. I'd still practice it. I'd probably practice 5 on the other shape to 2 to this shape, because I feel like I can do that one. And that's what you're going to find. You're going to find a pattern. If you find the cutty one really easy, the fact that you can't do the drawy one means that when you want to hit a more neutral drive, say we take left off and you struggle with a few cuts, well, you're nowhere near it. You need to get this face control through these wrist angles working to allow you to control face, and then we'll get away from some of these kind of Frankenstein addresses and swings. Face control controls everything that you see in your swing, like it controls everything. And the reasons you see funky movements is because you do have funky face control ideas or concepts that have to be built in. That's why you see people, you know, DJ with his bowed wrist, you see an impact position really kind of out here. He's balancing it out. And there's one of the really interesting questions, because that's the pushback that you'll get on this a lot, is students will say, and there's a good point to this, you know, we see so many different variations on a golf course, you know, or on the PGA Tour and on tour. Why do I need to be textbook? Well, I'm not saying you need to be textbook. What I'm actually saying here is you need to have their level of control of the face, because what they're good at doing is adding angles in, but then balancing them. You need to practice adding angles in to work out how to balance them for your game. So it actually allows you to play your style of golf and find the patterns that allow you to become the most functional golfer you can. Hope that helps. Face angle. This is the easiest way to fix any golf swing, like any swing. And it's one of the first port of calls when people come for lessons with me that I'm looking at. I am not fussed about the cosmetics. I'm measuring the face. I want to see how they deliver it, with what level of consistency, to see what strengths we can build onto that or add. You don't need to look perfect, but you do need to function. Let me know if this helps in the comments down below. If you haven't checked out my Ask Golf Guru channel as well, I've got a second channel at the minute running, which I'm really enjoying. I'm just answering your questions. So if you've got any golf related questions, head over to that channel, put a comment on one of the videos, and you might feature in a Q&A question and answer on that channel. And anything golf, we're talking from Phil Mickelson's blowout to how to stop finning wedges, it's everything, just answering your questions. So Ask Golf Guru, head over there, give that a subscribe as well if you're not subscribed already. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.